Yo, call me a PS4 the way I lick you in my core. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Sketch. Today, and only today, we are here with a Sonic discussion Q&A type video where we talk about what you guys want to see from the future of this franchise. Also, I hope you've been doing well. I know the channel's been very like walkthrough focused because we've had Superstars, we've had Mario Wonder just come out, but I'm gonna go back to the flow of things, more Let's Play oriented stuff, more Q&A videos like this, more stuff, you know, where we could just talk about the news, the future, and everything. So this conversation came up because there was a thread, you know, that put where should Sonic go from here. Obviously, we've just had Sonic Superstars, we just had Sonic Frontiers, we basically had our more modern version of 2D and 3D, and I asked you guys, you know, what do you guys want to see? I mean, technically they asked, but you know, I asked you guys to ask me so I can talk about it. So let's see if you guys see the vision. All right, so GoGo Star says a 2D Sonic with an art style would be good. Maybe have the cell shaded skin be the part of the art style for the whole game rather than just the skin. I like this idea. The idea of having a sort of, you know, cell shaded look for 2D Sonic, or even just, you know, a unique art style, right? We've talked about, you know, Mario Wonder just recently came out, and that game has a beautiful art style, even though it's using 3D models. But I think Sonic could lend itself to something like that, you know. And I remember when they were talking about Sonic Superstars in not essays, in fucking interviews, they were saying that originally they wanted the game to have, you know, some sprite or some art style, but they sort of wanted a modern look. But I do hope that they accept that, you know, they could do something in the middle, because I like how Superstars looks, but I would love something that kind of looked like almost like Mario Wonder, but Superstars kind of combined. Now this one is cooking, right, by Sonic Fan. I 100% believe 2D should get its own Mario Maker where you can switch between classic Sonic like 2D and Mania/Superstar Sonic Advance and Rush. I think this is an awesome idea. The reason why I think that is just because I feel like 2D Sonic has been the benchmark of what so many modders and fan games have been, that I feel like just making an official tool set would just be so beneficial for Sonic. You know what I mean? Just having a game where every month or two, you know, they add some new parts from different Sonic games, or just having everything you need in right away. I think it would be so good for them. You know, it's a way to make the fans that are already building these fan games left and right, just make that job a little bit easier on them, right? And then also you just endless content for the fans until a new game comes out. I feel like 2D Sonic levels might be a little more intricate to make than Mario levels, but the things people would cook would be fucking phenomenal. Oberon says, I agree with what you're saying, would like to add an ArcSys developed fighting game that plays similarly to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Oh my god, bro, the things I would do for this, bro. I've talked about this a million times to death. I would adore like a 2D, you know, Dragon Ball type Sonic game. I feel like Sonic, its cast is so deserving of a fighting game. I mean, they have so many characters, it has so much potential for DLC. I just think like it's such an easy W for Sega to tackle this at some point. Ooh, okay, Tede says, what if I said I wanted an Unleash continuation? Okay, so like, what would this be in your mind? Is this like, you know, Chip comes back for something? Is this Fran subscribing to me while I'm recording a video? I like the idea of going back to places on Earth, you know, like Spagonia or even Windmill Isle, all these places, but maybe they're frontier style where they're actually bigger, they're more explorable, there's new areas and levels in them. I like the idea of that. And then maybe take me to other places in the world, you know, and I think something like that could be kind of crazy. Also, make sure to subscribe to your boy and support the content. We are nearing 50k people. Please hop in. All right, so Judge says, imagine a game like Sonic Frontiers, but everything in open zone and cyberspace are platforms built into and surrounding terrain instead of floating platforms. So you're saying like, instead of a separation between cyberspace and a main hub, it just, the entire game just feels like that, you know, that maybe you walk through a path and then it suddenly, you know, shifts to an area where you got to use the boost a little more, or platforming challenges a little more. I kind of like that idea. I like the idea that there's no separation, you know, between the main world and the side world. I like the idea that, hey, you have one just really extremely fun area to explore and move around and platform, rather than having things a little more segmented. To me, that's awesome. I do think there's definitely value in like challenge areas like cyberspace, like even games like Mario, like a game like Mario Odyssey. Yeah, it has open areas, but even within those, there's like challenge rooms where you do, you know, missions in there with different level design structures. So I do like the idea though of having like one crazy area that you explore and make bigger and better. All right, Renegade says, keep the mainline tales more serious in tone, but in between give us spin-offs like Murder of Sonic, less serious, more goofy stories of the gang just chilling and having fun. In terms of gameplay, just expand on cyberspace and open zone, make the gameplay loop more interesting. I agree definitely with that second idea. I do want more interesting, you know, puzzles and ideas on the island rather than like, here's a harder version of the one from the last island. And I agree, like kind of treat Sonic more like an anime, right? Where you have the serious plot line, but then you have, you know, the filler episodes that are meant to be, you know, funny and slice of life, because the characters of Sonic are also fun and happy. So more stuff like Murder of Sonic, or even more like, you know, Sonic puzzle games or side games like a beat 'em up would be really fun to expand on, you know, the characters having more of a good time instead of the more serious tone that I want the 3D games to keep. Aiden says, I want a big budget Sonic Adventure remake. I've seen the Persona remakes and I was thinking, imagine if we got this for Sonic. It would be built from the ground up and really make something special. I mean, obviously I feel like we talk about Sonic Adventure all the time. It is so clear that people want this series back, and it's also so clear that Sega knows that, and I do believe that Sega wants to do it, but they want to do it right. And the way I would see Sonic Adventure remakes is more like the Resident Evil remakes as opposed to like FF7 remake, you know, where FF7 remake is just kind of changing the plot completely and doing something different, whereas at least with Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 remake, there are changes, but they're definitely still fundamentally the same game that you play start to finish. So I think something like that with Sonic Adventure, where you would keep the core, but you would make everything bigger, better, and more modernized, is something they would definitely have to do. And they got to be careful, man, because Sonic Adventure is so beloved to people. It's going to take a lot to make sure they nail it. All right, my boy Wazif here showing Project Hero would rather them take a physics-based direction for 3D Sonic like Project Hero, because I feel like that could solve so many issues with Frontiers and that previous games ran into. I agree with this. I mean, watching this clip, to me, the flow of movement looks so much better. You know, the fact that you can go out here doing wall runs, the fact that you can, you know, gain speed by going down slopes and everything. And they did add a bit of momentum by the end of Sonic Frontiers Light, but something a little more natural and more playful with the environments. Like, again, the fact that in Sonic Frontiers there's like no loops in the open zone is like criminal, you know, and I get they want to go with something different, but I feel like just more stuff to make Sonic's movement feel cool and flow more would be fantastic. Rex says, I want a Riders game, the sense of speed, flow, and style punctuated by the music and art, something that hasn't been replicated since Zero Gravity, though 3 Riders music was honestly A tier. I agree with this, man. I think instead of trying to make, you know, Sonic a karting series like Mario Kart, I think it should stick to Riders and keep its unique signature style, because that's what I felt like Riders did so well, is that it wasn't Mario Kart, you know, it was Sonic Riders, and you kept the style and cool energy that Sonic gave off in this you know, world. So please bring that back, Sega. Captain Geek says, deadass, I want a Sonic game that just puts a bunch of random side characters together and forces them to interact and develop a dynamic, like put Espio, Jet, and Whisper together and let them figure shit out. I like that idea, man. For me, I've always said a Sonic beat 'em up would be fucking awesome, where maybe, you know, you get a nice sprite-based game or an art style game, you get a beat 'em up, and then you get different character interactions, you get levels specific for certain teams. I think something like that would be so dope. Hot take, but I think I could do without the arcade linear action stages. Not to say that they're bad, especially the Final Horizon update. I just kind of want to see them go all in and make the open levels more like speed platforming based instead of combat, like 64 Odyssey. Again, I kind of touched on that earlier, having a more environment that's more playful. And again, I agree with this. You know, as much as I like cyberspace and action type stages, something that is more like, hey, let's make the environment itself bigger and lean into the action more is also a good idea. So Captain says, make a version of Sonic Superstars where the bosses are actually good, and also port the old 3D games. It's impossible to get new people into the series that want to play them when 50% of the series is unobtainable on any modern system. I agree with that. You know, I think if you don't have a PC and you just bought a PS5, you're shit out of luck in terms of classic Sonic 3D games. I mean, what, you can buy Colors and Forces and Frontiers. You have no access to Adventure 1 and 2 except if you use that, you know, PlayStation shared thingy. If you have an Xbox, you're good. But the fact that Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 aren't on Switch is like criminal. The fact that Generations isn't on Switch and PS5 is just criminal. Like, the fact that so much of Sonic's library is just not available on modern platforms is actually insane, and they need to work on that. Miles says, I don't want 2D to be confined to just classic anymore. I feel like Sega thinks only classic Sonic can be 2D and only modern can be 3D, but that's not the case. Be weird, expand and mix up so we can see something truly fresh and brand new. I agree with this for sure. I mean, like, modern Sonic should be able to work in 2D. In fact, they've tried all the time in the modern 3D games, you know, with the amount of 2D levels they put. So it's very clear they know people want modern Sonic in 2D. And honestly, like, if they just maybe even gave, you know, modern Sonic a nice 2D game with a unique art style, they gave him the boost meter, you know, you have playable Blaze or someone new that's playable as, you know, the player 2, that'd be awesome. I think that's a big part of it. It's like, give me a new player 2 for Sonic, like a Blaze moment, give me a Shadow moment, give me even a Silver moment, even like, you know, a Tails and Knuckles moment from back in the day, you know, where the game was Sonic and this character, you know, and they felt like they were the main MCs of that game instead of just Sonic. All right, so Not So Clever Amy says, man, as good as Sonic's had this year and last year, I just want a game that doesn't feel rushed or short on budget. You know, technically Origins case 2, if you want to clear this, okay with Steve, but Superstars definitely feels a little rushed. You know, example, and they're showing me the example here. What am I looking at here? You know what I mean? What's going on here? Did the game? Oh shit! Did the game freeze? Oh, oh, fuck! Oh, they broke it. Oh, damn. And they damn. No, I think I see what you mean. I think you want something that is a bit more polished because, yeah, these are very rare moments typically, but I understand people just don't want these moments. You know, they don't want to have a clip of something buggy happening or something glitchy happening from these games. And even in Colors Ultimate is an issue. Like, I know a lot of times a bug is a very haha funny, but I understand just wanting a bit more care and polish in these games because it seems like these things seem to happen a lot. ProTag going crazy and saying Adventure 3 in the Frontier style would go hard. They already got everything they need for it, and I know Ian Flynn's gonna cook a 5-star meal with the story if Sonic Team did Adventure 3. You know, we all know Sonic Adventure 3 is the golden goose. That is the big red emergency button if everything goes to shit for Sonic. You know, they're just like, all right, it's time to make Sonic Adventure 3. But I think we're not there yet. You know, I want Sonic Adventure 3 to happen when Sonic is completely on its shit. You know what I mean? When Sonic has every fucking duck aligned and we are getting incredible games, then that's when I want Sonic Adventure 3. I don't want Sonic Adventure 3 yet when we are still in the like, this is awesome, but we need a bit more. So once we get there, it'll be beautiful. Vernus says, if I could have one guarantee for the next Sonic game, it would be multiple playable characters from the very beginning. None of this DLC malarkey. Would also love to see open zone format with the city station square tire environment. I agree with this. You know, take us back to the days where Sonic was obviously the main character, but the sidecast was important, you know, and people could be like, hey, I actually loved playing as Tails more than I did Sonic, or oh, I love playing as Shadow more than I did Sonic, or these are my favorite levels with this kid. Like, bring back the sort of requirement of having the cast be part of the journey. And we know by the end of Frontiers that the gang wants to go do their own thing. So, you know, maybe work on that. Maybe do something with that where, you know, by the time we get to the next game, the gang has done their own adventures and have grown. Or we go on those adventures with the gang. And an open zone format with a city, it sounds fucking incredible. I love the idea of, you know, sort of like Sonic 06 when you would explore the towns, but like modernized. You know, I could run up buildings, I could, you know, find springs to jump on, find activities to do. Sort of like a new Donk City, but for Sonic. 3D spin-offs make a short spin-off game for different characters like Knuckles, Amy, etc. It's similar to Insomniac Spider-Man games. Like the main Spider-Man comes out, they make a spin-off game for Miles that was shorter, so they could do the same for others. I agree. Bring back, you know, character-oriented games. Obviously, a game like Shadow the Hedgehog back in the day was flawed, but it was such a good idea to trust that another Sonic character could carry their own game. And I want more of that. You know, give me a Blaze game. Give me a Tails and Knuckles game. You know, give me an IDW game. Something that focuses on the others. Well, you know, still having a little bit of Sonic in there, but making it so that I care about this cast so much more than I do. But yeah, that is a lot of your suggestions. And let me know, guys, what do you want to see from this series? If you didn't comment down below, let me know what you think, what you're most excited for to see going forward. And of course, I'll see you all next time. Peace out. I love you.